There are so many online workout programs out there. It's hard to know where to start and where to go, and everybody's goals are so different. So why not make your own? And so in today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to build your own workout program from scratch around your own goals. I thought it'd be a good time to release this video as school is approaching in a couple of weeks, and I want to show you how you can build your workout program around school. This would also work for work as well. So we're gonna dive into the workout split you should do, how many days per week you should be working out, everything down to the exercise selection is going to be covered in this video. So without further ado, let's just take it back to the drawing board. The whiteboard. All right, first things first, before we start building any kind of program, the first thing you want to start off with is defining what your goals are. Is your goal to build muscle, lose fat, improve your endurance or cardiovascular health? Is your goal to compete in a powerlifting or a bodybuilding competition? Or is your goal to improve strength? So these are all important to build your workout program around your central goal. So determine what that goal is, and then we're gonna be building around it. So I'm actually gonna be building my workout program right here on the spot with you guys because I go back to university in a few weeks and I wanna build it around that. So I'm gonna start with my goal: lose fat, build muscle, increase strength. Those are gonna be my goals that I'm gonna kind of keep top of mind throughout this. So now that we have our goals in place, let's talk about how many days a week are you going to be dedicating to working out? If you're just a beginner, just starting to work out, maybe you just want to do 2 times a week, just to get started, and then from there you can add a day. Or if you're more intermediate or advanced, you may be working out 4 to 5 times a week. Now, what's really important to note is you want to make sure that you're accounting for rest days. So you don't want to say, I want to work out 7 days a week. That's not going to give your body a chance to build muscle and protein synthesis to happen. You need to rest. For me, I'm more so in the intermediate range. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna work out 4 days a week. The third step is going to be choosing the workout split. Now, what's important going into this is you wanna aim to train each muscle 2 times per week. There are a lot of different workout splits you can choose from. There's something called the bro split, where you do an arm day, a shoulder day, a chest day, a back day, and a leg day. So you separate all the muscle groups into their own individual workout session. I personally am not a fan of that split, but if that works really well for you, it's all about trial and error and seeing what your body responds to. And then there's push-pull legs, which I was a huge fan of. I love doing push-pull legs. So on the push days, you're gonna do chest, tris, and shoulders. So think any motions that you kind of push. Pull is gonna be back and biceps. So any time that you pull the weight, and then legs is just legs, of course. I was a huge fan of push-pull legs. I did that for a long time. So I wanna change things up. Now, the other kind of splits you can do is you can do an upper lower split, and then you can also just do a full body split. So maybe you wanna do full body workouts. Say you're only doing 2 times a week. Full body workout may be good for you. So it depends how many days you're gonna allocate per week. If you have more like 5 days a week that you can dedicate, then something like push-pull legs may be good. So for me, I wanna change things up. I've been doing push-pull legs for a long time, and since I'm working out 4 days a week, I think upper and lower would fit quite nice because I have 2 upper days, 2 lower days. So now that we have our workout split, we know how many days a week we're gonna be working out. We're gonna move on to the 4th step, which is gonna be choosing a workout routine. So your workout can be split up into different components. So you can do cardio, core, weights, mobility, stretching. Again, look back to your goals. So this is where the goals come in handy. For me, since lose fat is a part of my goal, I'm gonna make sure I'm including cardio. When you wanna lose fat or lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, which means your calories in number has to be smaller than your calories out number. So you can either do that by burning more calories or eating less calories. That's the way. So for me, I wanna still eat a good amount, so I'm gonna include some cardio in there. Build muscle, so that's going to definitely be weights we're gonna have to include in there, which, you know, ties into the workout split. Of course, you're gonna have weights. I always suggest including some sort of weightlifting in any kind of workout program. So definitely weights. Now with weights, you gotta have stretching. You really want to make sure that you have good muscle health, and that also goes along with mobility as well, especially to decrease your chances of getting an injury. mobility is important. So if that's something that's important to you, just not getting injured, go for the mobility. And then you know what? I'm also gonna do core as well. Something important to note is everybody's gonna structure their workouts in different ways depending on what's good for them and everything like that. This is how I've been creating my workouts for the last 3 years, and I've been able to successfully build a lot of muscle, lose fat. So this is tried and true method for me, and we're just taking it right from scratch so you can really adapt this method to you to fit your goals. All right, so we're gonna move on to number 5, choosing the exercises. It can get a little confusing here because each of your muscles has a certain amount of slow twitch versus fast twitch fibers. So some of your muscles will react better to doing higher reps, smaller weight, or lower reps and a higher weight. Now, for me, I just always want to keep things as simple as possible. If I go too complex, too complicated, I'm not going to stick with something. So I generally go by the standards of if you're in the 1 to 5 rep range, that's going to be more strength focused, where you can, use a lot of weight, and maybe you're just going for like a big double or triple. And then if you're going more in the 8 to 12 type rep range, that's going to be more hypertrophy focused, and then over 15 reps can be more endurance. Something that I believe, and what has been true for me all these years, is when I do focus on strength, my muscles will grow. So, and that's a known fact, as you get stronger and stronger, your muscles are going to have to get bigger and bigger. That's what I've found. So I like to do a mixture, the 1 to 5 and 8 to 12 rep range. So here we have 1 to 5 strength, 8 to 12 hypertrophy, 15 plus endurance. There are guidelines depending on what kind of muscle group you're working on. For back, people say you want to do between 10 to 25 sets per week, quads and hams 6 to 20. I keep it simple, stupid. That's my motto. And this is a general little hack that I've come up with that's been working great. Let's say you're doing the upper lower split like I'm gonna be doing. I find that on the upper days, I choose 2 to 3 exercises per upper muscle group. And then also for the smaller muscles in upper, like your bis and tris, I would recommend just doing like 1 to 2 exercises for those, because triceps are gonna be involved in the pushing movements, biceps and the pulling. And then on the lower days, I choose around 5 leg exercises. Now if you're doing push-pull legs, which is what I love, push-pull legs has been great for me. For the bigger muscles, so let's say you're doing a push day. So for chest and shoulders, you wanna choose 3 to 5 exercises for those bigger muscles. And then you wanna choose 1 to 3 exercises for those smaller muscles. So do 1 to 3, for triceps on the push day. Go with these exercises. And then you wanna then say 3 to 4 sets is what we're gonna be doing. So kind of follow this. Now, if you're doing something like the bro split, you're gonna be choosing more exercises. Okay, so the first step in exercise selection is determining, how many exercises you wanna do for each muscle group, kind of get the rep ranges and all that figured out. I kind of group it all under this step. It just makes the most sense for me. So I like to have 2 separate workouts is what I like to start with. And then from there, in the next step, I'm gonna talk more about progressive overload, how to change things up and stuff like that. But your body needs some sort of consistency to be able to adapt to what you're giving it. So I'll rotate between these. For workout 1 for upper, this is, a sample workout. So we want 2 to 3 exercises about for each of the muscle groups. So, we got pull-ups and dumbbell rows for back, and then we got bench press and chest flies for chest, and then we have the Arnold press for shoulders. Now, I know there's only 1 for shoulders, but since there are 2 other chest ones, that's also going to hit, the shoulders a little bit. And then we have the bicep and tricep superset. So this can be whatever I'm feeling. And since I'm still going through injury recovery, a lot of my workouts are still going to be mobility and core focused, not too much weights, as I'll get into and you'll see. So if you want to choose more exercise, like more towards, doing 3 for each muscle group, you can definitely do that. We got lower body days. So the first workout on the lower body day, we got tempo squats. So that's you're going real slow, you're controlling the weight. Walking lunges, barbell RDLs, single leg press, glute bridges, hamstring curls. So if you guys see, I do a lot of unilateral single leg stuff because I did have a lot of imbalances. Okay, so now I wanted to address progressive overload, because it's something that's very important throughout your training. Okay, so what progressive overload means is you are constantly going to be adapting your muscles, adapting your body to new changes and exposing it to different things. So this way it never gets used to the same thing, because if your body gets used to the same thing, you're gonna hit a big wall, plateau, and we don't want that. There are different ways you can progressively overload. Progressively overload, is that a thing? Yeah. Sure. You can increase the weight, which is the most common one. So, you know, when a weight gets too light, you want to increase the weight. Something that I go by all the time is no matter how many reps you're doing in a set, the last few reps should really be burning. You know, you don't want to take every single set to failure, but typically I take at least like the last set really close to failure, if not to failure. Your face should be like all shriveled up, should be, you know, just scaring off everyone. That's good, that's working out hard. So make sure you're up in the weight when it gets too easy. Other ways you can do is you can increase the rep range, you can increase the time under tensions, you can do things like tempo reps, you know, you could do things like slow down the eccentric instead of doing fast concentric, things like that. You can also decrease your rest times. You can change your exercise selection, and something that's really important, especially if you are wanting to go more so down the powerlifting or power building route and focusing on strength. If strength is one of your goals, you want to address your weak points. So say for example, you want to get a really high deadlift and your weak spot is when it's coming off the floor. That's the hardest part of the deadlift for you. Then you want to incorporate something like deficit deadlifts into your routines. All right, so the seventh thing that's really important to note is you need to make sure that you are tracking your progress and you are taking your measurements. I typically like to every 6 weeks. So I measure my waist, neck, arms, legs, glutes, like I measure everything. I weigh myself and things like that. So, and then I record it all. And this way you can see like, hey, are you putting on some muscle, losing some fat? And then the other thing that's important is to make sure that you're writing down the weights that you're using. You know, how many reps and sets, what exercises, you know, are you lifting a 225 squat? Record that, because then when you look 6 weeks, you can see, hey, I'm getting stronger. And that's gonna motivate you to keep going. So it's really important to track that progress, know where you're standing. And if you see that over 6 weeks, nothing's changing, that's a huge red flag that you need to do something different. Okay, so now we're down to the final step, which is making a schedule. Now, I am a huge believer that no matter what your schedule is, if it's all over the place, if you have school and work, there's always a way to fit your fitness in, no matter what. I have my school schedule on here. Luckily, I do have a couple online courses, so I can do those kind of whatever time I want, which is nice, but these are the times I have to be in class. So we got the Monday to Thursday, off Fridays, which is nice. What you're gonna do is you're going to look for common gaps in your schedule. Try to work out at the same time each day you work out. Okay, so I went through and put boxes around kind of where the common gaps would be. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're spacing out your rest days. Let's say you're working out 4 days a week. You don't want to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, back to back to back. So remember, for me, I want to do 4 days a week. So let's see what would be the most ideal here. Now, Tuesdays and Thursdays are my lighter days. My Monday's kind of crazy and that block doesn't really line up, so I'm not gonna do that one. So let's go with Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, I'm not going to do Wednesday because that would be 3 back to back to back. Let's do Sunday because that's kind of spaced out. Monday will be a rest day. And then, you know what? We'll do Friday because I want one of my weekends. Now, when you work out both Saturday and a Sunday, that's gonna not be the least resistance because usually on weekends you wanna have fun. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to write out my entire workout routine, how much time everything will take me, and then I'm gonna pick a block of time to completely block off during those days. So you guys may be saying, hey, why are you including like your travel time in there? Now, when you're thinking about going to the gym, you're like, oh, you know, it's only an hour workout, it's all good. And then when you have to account for travel time, mobility, stretching, things like that, then it can be kind of overwhelming. If you know in advance how long it's gonna take and you get home around the time that you're already planning, you're not gonna feel as anxious. I also wanted to add in this, that I can also do some core and then or maybe I'll do cardio. Okay, so after adding all those up, it gives me a total of 180 minutes or 3 hours. So now I'm gonna find a 3-hour block in all these. So what I'm thinking is 1 to 4. 1 to 4 is a good kind of middle. You don't want to do like directly after a class or directly after work. Give yourself some time to have that real good pre-workout meal, and you know, you want a little bit of time to shower and do whatever after the gym. So now what you're gonna do, what I'm gonna do is that 1 to 4 p.m., I'm gonna completely block that off. I know that on those times, on those days, I know exactly where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be at the gym, and if friends say, hey, you know, you wanna do this or something like that, I'm gonna say, hey, sorry, I can at 5 or at 12. But this time is gonna be a no friend zone. I know that sounds, you know, kind of sad. It's obviously important to have gym life balance, but at the end of the day, you need to prioritize your own fitness goals. If you don't, and you constantly let stuff come up, because it's easy to let things come up, especially if you're in school, you're in work, whatever, it's really easy to let things come up. So block that out. And you know what? I'm gonna start off with upper, lower, upper, lower. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'll go to my exercise selection. I know the exact breakdown of my workout. Look at how satisfying that is. Make sure that you prioritize your gym time, and you make sure that you stay consistent. If you miss a workout in one of your weeks, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Of course, you know, if something really important comes up and you can't go to the gym, if you get sick, something like that, don't be too hard on yourself. As long as you are trying your best, that's what's gonna count at the end of the day. I always go by that. If I know I'm trying my best, there's no reason to be stressing out, feeling bad, anything like that. If you have any questions about any of the steps in particular, or if your goals are completely different and you're having trouble figuring it out, don't hesitate to drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to help you out. Just know it's a much better option to build your own workout program around what your goals are and everything like that, like I said at the beginning. Because if it's something that you built and you got to choose your own exercises, so you know it's something you're gonna like, you got to choose what you're gonna be doing, when you're gonna be doing it, you're gonna be much more likely to stick with it. And now you guys have the tools to create your own workout program around your work schedule, your school schedule, anything like that. If you guys want to learn more about what kind of equipment you should be buying, gym equipment, I made a whole video on the powerlifting essentials, but these can also just be used if you're just a regular weightlifter. I talk about weightlifting belt, chalk, all the good stuff, wrist straps, wrist wraps. So that video is gonna pop up right here on the screen. Feel free to go check it out. And I hope that you guys have a killer day. Bye.